What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday over here, May 23rd. And on this video, we're going to be talking about a few things. One of which is going to be talking about Pi Network. See what is going on in this market because the internet wants to know. I'm going to be taking a look into the charts of Pi Network. Also going to be taking a look into EOS, EOS, USDT or USD, and WIF, WIF, the dog coin. See what's going on in these altcoin markets. Also going to be taking a look into the rest of the crypto markets, which will include Bitcoin, which is the driver of the crypto markets, right? It drives the altcoins, and if Bitcoin dumps, as we are seeing today, we see quite a bit of these altcoins dumping right after. Okay. So cannot ignore Bitcoin. That's what I cover here. Bitcoin, first things first. Gonna be keeping that chart in the back of my head while looking at any altcoin setups. Now, if you guys are new to this channel, you guys should know that I dive deep into the charts every day to look for moves before they actually happen, because that's a lot less risky than going into a pump on the day of, and I use technical analysis and charts to do this. So if you guys want to learn technical analysis and see the markets much more clearly for yourself, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. If you guys have any technical analysis requests for any altcoins in the market, make sure to comment in the comment section below as well. I will pick one request to do every day for you guys. Now let's go ahead and dive into Bitcoin first, because this is the most important charts that you should be paying attention to, because it is the driver of the markets, right? Right now we're seeing Bitcoin pulling back from breaking out of its previous all-time highs at about 110K. Right now at about 109, okay? Is this a buying opportunity for Bitcoin altcoins? Well, I just put a little bit more of a long position in just right now, and I'm gonna give you guys my reasoning. Okay, I am already pretty deep into longs right now, so that is just me, what I'm personally doing. None of what I'm saying is financial advice, of course, but I do see this as a dip opportunity, and let me explain why. So since we actually had this drop here, this is the hourly time frame for Bitcoin, dropped all the way down to about 107K there, and we had a pretty good bounce on this hourly time frame, okay? This is still a very short trend, and we had a very good bounce. And what I mean by a very good bounce is taking a look into the RSI here, right? We went from about 32 to all the way to about we're about 44 right now, right? So if Bitcoin was to take another dip, the bears do have to invalidate a very possible bullish divergence scenario, which would indicate usually another bounce, okay, because of how high this RSI reading went from about 32 to 44. So that is one main point why I put another smaller long position in at this time for this dip. Another thing is stock market. ES1 exclamation mark. Quite a bit of reversal signals here as well. This is usually highly correlated with Bitcoin and could be a front-running signal for Bitcoin as well. In fact, I think why Bitcoin has been dumping is because S&P 500 has been dumping, right? But right now we are getting a more bullish divergence signals here on the hourly time frame. Basically, when you have equal or lower lows on the RSI, but you have equal or higher lows on the, equal or lower lows on the price action chart, but with equal or higher lows on the RSI. And we're seeing some of that playing out right now. Also want to point out that ES1 exclamation mark here is at some pretty important support levels, namely the daily 200 SMA, the orange line here. So given that Bitcoin is seeing a pretty good bounce on the hourly time frame, and stock markets is at a pretty good support, that's my reasoning into putting another small long position into altcoins. Okay, um, let's go ahead and go to total 3. Very important to see as well. This is the altcoin markets excluding Ethereum. It is still above the daily 200 SMA for all types of significance, which is the orange line here. Price target out of this huge falling wedge pattern on the daily time frame still in play is going to be about 1.1 trillion, okay, which could still do some pretty significant pumps for these altcoins, especially smaller altcoins. Now, I want to take a look into the Bitcoin chart one more time because we have just broken above the all-time highs a couple days ago, yesterday. And it's very important to see Bitcoin actually close above 110K again, okay? Because we do have some sell signals on this weekly time frame, which is also very important to be paying attention to, which is where we have a higher high on the price charts, but a lower high on the RSI, which usually indicates a sell signal, but there has been exceptions, namely breakouts, right? I can name one right off the charts right here, November 2024. Also, monthly time frame, December 2020, if you guys have been around that long. Let's take a look into altcoins. Okay, top some altcoins, right? That we're gonna be talking about pie chart here. Okay, Pi network. See what's going on in this market. Relatively new market here. Okay, it's already, I think, a top 100 coin. Okay, it's already pretty big, right? Not much data here that we can actually look at because I usually like to look into the monthly time frame and see if we have an overbought RSI reading there, and I like to keep track of the monthly RSI reading because if it gets into overbought territory, it's going to be pretty close to a potential peak at that time. If you guys don't believe me, just look at any altcoins with a monthly RSI reading back in 2021 and see what it does and how long it stays up there for. So no reading here. Let's go ahead and go to, I think, probably the 12-hour time frame is where I can actually find a pattern since there's very little data. Falling wedge pattern, very common pattern. Pi network, out of this falling wedge pattern, it has already broken out but hasn't done too much. Breakout point was right here. Price action, price target here is going to be just short of $1.50 for Pi networks, which is still pretty significant for a big altcoin. Now let's come over here to the weekly time frame. I do want to talk about this. I usually like to look for higher lows for entry, right? It's just a lot lower risk than buying a higher high, right? Because if the market could hold a higher low, big if, then the next logical move is a higher high, right? Versus if you buy into a higher high, even if you're in an uptrend, the next logical move could still be a higher low, very likely, right? So that is the logic. So I like looking for higher lows or double bottoms personally. On this weekly time frame, it still has a higher low, okay? Until this higher low is broken, it is still on an uptrend. Let's take a look into WIF meme coin. See what's going on in this market. It's a pretty big meme coin, okay? Monthly time frame, very low RSI reading, okay? Doesn't mean that it's not gonna dump, but it's just not close to a potential peak. If I'm using 2021 data as a reference point, okay? No data is perfect, but I think it's still good to get a reference point. So monthly RSI at about 33. Let's take a look into, I think, weekly time frame. It still held a higher low here, and now it's on a higher high trajectory since this all-time low, right, at about 33 cents. Let's take a look into 12-hour time frame and see if I can actually get a valid chart here. So we do, so 12-hour time frame where I can actually connect 3 candles on both trend lines, okay? Price target, since it already broke out already, but it hasn't really done too much for this coin, is going to be you take the measurement of the opening of the pattern and you put the measurements on top of a either expected breakout point, estimated breakout point, or an actual. In this case, it's going to be actual. So price target is just a little bit above $3. Price targets. Price targets are estimates only. It could be more, it could be less, right? If the price action actually reaches its price targets, then what I do is I would chart the consolidation pattern at the price targets, and see if I can get any kind of hint on where the price action could be going. Then it could also just blow through it. I've seen that, of course. I mean, there's just a lot of things that happen in the market that could be out of the ordinary as well. So let's take a look into EOS. See what's going on in this market. Monthly time frame. Now, this coin has been around for quite some time. Okay, we have a monthly RSI reading of about 46. We have EOS right now trying to break above that monthly 21 SMA at about 70 cents, the blue line here. Moving averages, very important to be paying attention to. They could be either support or resistance depending on the position relative to the price. Weekly time frame. Just broke above the weekly 21 SMA and the weekly 50 SMA. Let's see if on the 12-hour time frame I can actually validate this, what it looks like a falling wedge pattern. Okay, 12-hour time frame. Measure move or measure target of the breakout of this pattern because it's already happened. It hasn't gone too far. Measure the opening of the pattern, put it on top of the breakout point here. It's going to be about $1 and just right above $1.30 here. So it's still got some way to go to the price targets. Now, this basically wraps up my video for today, right? If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.